I guess I have to talk about this. I mean, I'm not even from the US and I am glad the election is over. But it was a big part of 2016, so let's just get it over with. And just in case I sound a bit strange in this video, it's because I have a cold and there's not much I can do about that, unfortunately. Okay, so in case you missed it, like there was any chance of that, the new leader of Freedom TM was finally elected in November. It began in June of 2015 when Donald J. Trump officially announced that he would be running for president of the United States, and most people reacted much like this.
And which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
Very few people saw him as a serious candidate, but that quickly changed, and in July of 2016, Trump was officially selected as Republican Party's nominee. So now it was Donald Trump up against the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton. Trump focused on making America great again and building walls.
We will build a great wall along the southern border, and Mexico will pay for the wall.
While Clinton went for the relatability approach.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Meanwhile, the rest of the world looked on in disbelief as this reality TV show masquerading as a presidential election gradually descended into insanity. A seemingly never-ending stream of scandals and controversies.
You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy. I can do anything.
In the midst of this political fiasco, the world collectively decided it was time to obsess over the death of a gorilla. The gorilla named Harambe was shot to death at a zoo in the US after he got a hold of a child. The incident received international coverage and induced global controversy, not only because the video was recorded vertically, but also because Harambe was, well, killed. Something that many argued could have been avoided. Nevertheless, the 3-year-old boy survived, and a biopic is now set to be released in 2017. 2016 was also the year the UK voted to leave the European Union in a highly controversial referendum known as Brexit, not to be confused with the highly controversial vote to eat breakfast.
Mark my words, we will make Brexit.
Worldwide export drive saying breakfast?
That Brexit means breakfast.
Brexit. After the UK, after breakfast. Okay, let us stay with the theme of breakfast.
The Breakfast campaign promoted independence as the solution to numerous concerns regarding immigration, border control and various economic and legislative issues. However, while 52% of the population voted to leave, it seems that a large number of voters did not fully comprehend the potential consequences of doing so.
I know you voted out.
Yes.
If there was one thing you could do now, what would it be and why?
I would go back to the polling station and vote to stay.
Did you think you might get a chance to vote again?
It's difficult to pinpoint the single most widespread meme or viral trend of 2016, so I guess the entirety of the US election will have to suffice. I mean, it's even received a dedicated page on knowyourmeme.com, and we all know why.
I'm very highly educated. I know words, I have the best words,
With that being said, while Mr. Trump may have won the electoral vote, we all know that the true champion of the election was none other than Ken Bone.
One more question from Ken Bone.
What steps will your energy policy take to meet our energy needs, while at the same time remaining environmentally friendly and minimizing job loss for fossil power plant workers?
Other memes include Ted Cruz being outed as the Zodiac Killer.
And when the children were misbehaving, I will tell you, I could hit a kid. You would be spinning across the room. I could drop you at 20 paces.
Mother Nature herself choosing Bernie Sanders when a bird landed on his podium. Trump's tiny, tiny hands.
He said I had small hands. They're not small, are they?
And perfectly normal human reactions by Hillary Clinton. Non-election related viral trends included a mannequin challenge, this feat of modern lyrical brilliance, a poorly animated frog on a unicycle.
Here comes that bullshit water. Watch him rollin', watch him go, watch him rollin', watch him go, watch him rollin'.
And what can only be described as an ad for a shoe brand.
Damn, Daniel. Damn, Daniel. Damn, Daniel. Damn, Daniel. Back at it again with the white
A leak known as the Panama Papers unraveled over the course of 2016. The leak consisted of 11.5 million documents and originated from a Panamanian law firm known as Mossack Fonseca. The documents contained financial information about shell corporations owned by or connected to presidents, kings, politicians, executives, celebrities, and many other powerful and influential individuals around the globe. But what's so interesting about many of these shell corporations is that they have been used for various illegal purposes, such as tax evasion, fraud, kleptocracy, money laundering, etc. In other words, the rich and powerful have taken advantage of various loopholes in an effort to remain rich and powerful, and the world collectively gasped in shock. Some people with direct or indirect ties to these documents include the Prime Minister of Iceland, the President of Argentina, friends and relatives of Vladimir Putin, the King of Saudi Arabia, the Prime Minister of Italy, various people connected to the Clinton family, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, members and presidents of FIFA, Lionel Messi, Tiger Woods, Jackie Chan, Simon Cowell, and many, many others. As I've covered anniversaries in my last 2 end-of-the-year videos, it only seems appropriate to continue that tradition and to remind you all that your youth is slipping away as the inevitability of death is approaching ever so swiftly. 10 years ago, the Nintendo Wii and PlayStation 3 were released, Twitter was launched, Google acquired YouTube, the 2 sitcoms That 70s Show and Malcolm in the Middle concluded, and the solar system lost a planet as the word planet was formally redefined, and as a consequence, Pluto was downgraded to a dwarf planet. 50 years ago, Star Trek began, while the animated show The Flintstones concluded after 6 seasons. 75 years ago, the attack on Pearl Harbor took place and consequently led to the United States' entry into World War II. 100 years ago, one of the bloodiest battles in not only World War I but all of human history, known as the Battle of the Somme, claimed the lives of over 1 million soldiers. Pokémon became a widespread phenomenon this year due to the immensely popular mobile augmented reality game Pokémon Go.
Pokemon go to the polls!
It's been downloaded over 500 million times and has been praised for incentivizing people to become more physically and socially active. However, it also generated controversy due to various accidents and safety concerns. Some examples include people getting lost, increased inattentiveness, trespassings, traffic accidents, and even a few deaths. On the 15th of July, soldiers marched onto the streets of Istanbul and other major cities across Turkey. They were part of a faction of the Turkish military who wanted to overthrow the Turkish government due to various political motivations. Over 300 people were killed as a result, but the coup ultimately failed as the attackers were defeated by forces still loyal to the state. Tens of thousands were arrested and detained in the aftermath, and the president of Turkey issued a 3-month state of emergency. It's believed that the coup leaders were part of a movement known as the Gulen movement that is led by an Islamic preacher living in the United States. And even though Mr. Gulen has denied any involvement, hundreds of thousands have now been fired from their jobs on accusations of simply having connections to the movement. On August the 19th, Samsung released their latest smartphone, the Galaxy Note 7. Demand for the phone was initially high and sales exceeded expectations. But then something interesting happened. Reports from all over the globe suggested that the phone had severe issues with overheating, a defect that was so extreme that the phone could literally burst into flames or even explode. Samsung were then quick to identify a defect in the battery of the phone and began offering replacements. That is, until the replacement phones began exploding as well. Perfectly illustrated here in this real-to-life recreation. Cars were set aflame and multiple flights had to be cancelled. Production of the Galaxy Note 7 was eventually discontinued and the company lost an estimated $17 billion due to the mishap. As divisive as this year has been for many, most seem to agree that 2016 has not been great. And I must concur, as it was truly a challenge to find positive things to say about 2016. Natural disasters, unnatural disasters, celebrities and other public figures passing away. But through the chaos and destruction, a beacon of hope is shining as bright as ever. It's been a pretty great year for astronomy and related fields, beginning with a revolutionary astronomical observation. A phenomenon known as gravitational waves that had been predicted by Albert Einstein exactly 100 years ago in 1916 was in February announced to have been detected and observed for the very first time, thus confirming the last remaining unproven prediction of general relativity and redefining the future of astrophysics forever. In September, a 30-ton meteorite was discovered in Argentina, making it the fourth largest meteorite ever discovered on Earth. An Earth-like exoplanet was found orbiting within the habitable zone of Proxima Centauri, the closest star to the Sun. In an effort to find new life on the planet Mars, the ESA and Roscosmos launched the ExoMars mission. Unfortunately, the probe that was supposed to land on the Martian surface crashed into the planet and left a tiny black dot as evidence of its demise. The world's largest radio telescope was completed in China and will, among other things, be used to scan the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, as none have been found on planet Earth. The spacecraft Juno began orbiting Jupiter and photographed the planet's north and south pole for the very first time. Many had speculated that the poles of Jupiter may exhibit a hexagonal shape, much like the North Pole of Saturn, but as we now know, this is not the case. And finally, the private spaceflight company SpaceX performed a vertical landing on a floating platform after numerous failed attempts. A perfect example of how science fiction becomes science fact.